I get asked this question all the time. So we're going to talk about how to do B2B email marketing, including the pros and cons you need to consider before you invest even a minute of your energy into this strategy. So look, a lot of coaches and consultants and professional service providers are on a lot of email lists. They get lots of marketing and content emails coming at them. And so when they're looking at their own business, they're saying, should I be investing in email marketing in my business? And I get that. You may even be on our email list at Bold House. But when you are marketing to busy, did I say busy? Busy decision makers inside of organizations, you really have to weigh the pros and cons of this because your time, your resources, and your budget are limited and you can't do everything. So where does it make sense for you to put that time, money, and energy? So let's talk about it. Let's talk about, first and foremost, the pros of email marketing. And there are two in my mind. The first pro is that email marketing is the only channel that you own. So you can spend years building, let's say, a Facebook group or followers on Instagram or connections on LinkedIn or subscribers on YouTube. But at any given time, those platforms could cease to exist or change their algorithm so substantially that it undermines everything that you're doing. And we've already seen this happen many times. Here in the United States, there has been talk over the last few years of whether or not TikTok was going to get kicked out. We weren't going to be able to have TikTok inside the United States, and influencers everywhere were losing their minds because their entire livelihood was based on the fact that they had followers on TikTok that they had spent years and years building. Then I have good friends in my field who spent an entire year, all day, every day, like 7 days a week, you guys, on Clubhouse. Do you remember Clubhouse? Clubhouse was all the rage. Some people might not even remember that Clubhouse existed, but there were folks who had hundreds of thousands of people in their club on Clubhouse, and then almost overnight, it was like the bottom fell out, and I don't even know what's going on with Clubhouse. I logged into it a few months ago just to take a glance at what was happening, and I didn't even recognize the platform. Email marketing, you own that contact list. That is your list. You own it. You can control the frequency, how it's utilized, what you're saying, when you're saying it, how you're saying it. It doesn't mean that some third parties can't get in your way, which we'll talk about here in just a second, but you own that list. The other pro to email marketing is that decision makers live in their inbox. There is not a decision maker on this planet that doesn't live in their inbox. Now, I will tell you that too is changing a little bit with the youngest generation that's coming into the workforce right now. They actually hate email. You can go look this up online. You can look at some of the articles about the youngest generation coming into the workforce. They are all about things like Slack and other types of chat channels. So I don't know that we won't see a real hit in email and the utilization of email, especially when you combine communication with the AI tools that companies are rolling out inside their organization. But right now, the Gen Xers and the millennials that are the decision makers, and still some of the baby boomers that are decision makers, they live all day, every day in their inbox. So if you're doing email marketing and you're in their inbox, then you are likely visible with that group. Whether or not they're reading what you publish or not, that's another story. But this is a channel you own, and decision makers are in their inbox. But that's it for me right now, honestly, around email marketing in the B2B space in terms of the pros. Let's talk about the cons of email marketing. The first is that building a quality list of real decision makers, senior decision makers, who have the budget and the authority to hire you and your firm is slow, it's difficult, it's expensive. Now you might say, well, why is it expensive? Well, your time is very expensive. So slow, difficult, expensive. Number two, a name and email address simply is not enough in the B2B space. You need to know their job title. You need to know the organization that they work for. You need that organization's website. You need to know the size of that organization. You are not looking to sell a $59 webinar. You have to make connections with decision makers. And so it is a big lift in order to get all of that data and maintain that data and keep that data on your email list accurate, up to date. The content demands of email marketing never stop. And the thing is, whether you have 100 decision makers on an email list or 1,000 decision makers or 500,000 decision makers, which would be crazy, that would be like Gartner we're talking about, but the content demands are the same. So here's what I mean by that. If you're just starting out building your list and you only have 150 people on your list, you still have to lift that entire email marketing effort for those 150 people who may or may not be bothering to read what you publish. CRM systems are costly and they are complex. And nowadays, ISPs are making it harder than ever to get a marketing email into someone's actual inbox. Email marketing is landing in promotional folders, junk folders, and in some cases, it literally disappears in cyberspace. The ISP simply blocks that domain or that CRM system altogether. And that's just the ISPs. Now you're talking about decision makers inside of companies who have IT departments who are constantly putting up extra degrees of security and blocking out marketing coming into their organization, which means deliverability is harder than it's ever been, and it's only getting worse by the minute because of all of these marketers out there that are using AI to create mountains and mountains and mountains of prospecting emails. It is causing a lot of heartache for IT departments inside of organizations, and they are now implementing AI to block out the AI-generated marketing that's coming in. So this is complex. We spend hours and hours and hours every single month just maintaining our ability to communicate with our community from Bold House. Number 6, decision makers are underrepresented on these email lists. Generally speaking, over the last 19 years plus that we have been working with small business owners, the Davids selling to the Goliaths, when we have someone come in to work with us to really learn how to win these high value clients, and they tell us they've been publishing email newsletters, we ask them a couple of key questions. One of the questions we ask is, out of those 3,000 people on your list or the 5,000 people on your list, what percentage of those are vice president or higher? And typically it's anywhere from 0% to 10%. Generally speaking, you see individual contributors and first line and mid-level managers are the ones signing up for the content because the content that's been produced typically is most valued by those level individuals. So it's a lot of how-to stuff that people are publishing in their e-newsletters, for example. And so that's who's gravitating, the people who are actually doing all of the work all day, every day. And then number 7, time is your most valuable asset. So if we have to look at where you as a solo expert or the founder of a boutique firm puts your time and energy, where are you going to put that? Putting together a complex CRM system and email deliverability issues and getting people to opt in for that list and having all of that? Or are you going to put that time and energy somewhere else that's more likely to lead to conversations with decision makers? And just to put all of this in perspective, we had a client who came in to work with us a couple of years ago now, it's probably 2 or 3 years ago, and she had been publishing an email newsletter every single week for about 7 years, did not miss an issue. And she said, well, it doesn't take me that long, but let's combine up all of that time and energy over 7 years. And that email newsletter produced exactly 0 clients. 0 clients came from that. Imagine if that time and energy had been spent creating conversations with more decision makers, even if it would have been just 1 extra decision maker a week that this individual would have been having a conversation with. If out of 50 conversations a year, even 5 of those conversations had led to paying opportunities over the course of 7 years, that would have been 35 more paying, high-paying corporate clients for the business. So every time you catch yourself saying, it doesn't take me that long, really pause and say, but if I use this time to have a conversation with a decision maker, how would my business change? So I'm not a fan of email marketing for the average solo business owner, boutique services firm that's looking to land high value corporate and B2B organizational clients. That time can be better spent elsewhere. So here are 3 alternatives you may want to consider. The first, and I think one of the best things that you can do, is publish content on other organizations' platforms. Every industry vertical on the planet has a multitude of industry associations and publications, whether digital or print, that are all looking for content. There are tens of thousands of B2B podcasts that are substantive podcasts. They have built-in audiences right now that leaders, everything. We just had a client focus on a really obscure market. They didn't believe us. They reached out to that podcast. They were featured on the podcast. Next thing you know, they were asked to go from the podcast to speaking at their upcoming conference. And now that is leading to conversations with decision makers. So publish on centers of influence on their platforms. It's a great place to be. It already has the decision makers you're looking to get in front of. Number 2, LinkedIn newsletters. The great thing about LinkedIn newsletters is that not only do you have the entire built-in audience of LinkedIn, but those articles are indexable by Google. That means they're seen by AI. And every time you publish an article, it goes to the inbox of all of the folks who have signed up or subscribed, if you will, to your LinkedIn newsletter. And you don't have to worry about email deliverability. That's all handled by LinkedIn. And last but not least, publish on your own blog. That means you are building your reputation. When decision makers go to your website to check you out, there's fresh content there. And of course, that's going to help you with search engine optimization. Now, if you say to me, Angelique, I am already doing all of those things. I've got a team doing all of those things, and we excel at all of those things. And now we want to add email marketing. I'm going to say awesome, because you've already publishing regularly on centers of influence. You're publishing your LinkedIn newsletter every week. You're publishing a blog article every week. If you're doing those 3 things and you still have bandwidth to go do email marketing, then have at it. Otherwise, this is the place to put your time and your energy. All right, so that's what I have to say about email marketing in the B2B space, but I want to keep this conversation going because we really want to see you getting high value corporate and B2B clients. So I want to change gears just a little bit and teach you even more about how to sell your services to a company so that you can earn the profit that your expertise deserves. For that, I've dropped the link to the next video in the description below, so go click on that now and I'll talk to you there.